Welcome once again to another episode of Victor Escalante Live. As we have previously published, today we're going to be discussing the presidential race and how it is being affected by the new normal in media, in people's behaviors, in the biases that people have, and of course the candidate. So Jose Monterrosa is if you're watching us for the first time, he's a PR and advertising executive with Imagina Communications, an aficionado, an aficionado of politics. Me, on the other hand, I'm a political consultant. I've actually worked on campaigns as a campaign manager, as a strategist, and of course in all legacy media. So politics is in my blood when it comes to strategy and when it messaging, communication, etc. So let's go ahead and get started. Jose, where would you like to start?
What if we do like a recount of events that have happened during the last 90 days? Because I think that dictates, what
Okay.
how the narrative has changed over
So
time.
I'll kick it off. I was doing extensive research in preparation, and one of the stories that came up was that Kamala Harris has run the perfect campaign in the last 48 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is, of course, this is subjective based upon the writer, and we're going to keep this objective and nonpartisan. This is not about
Sure.
politics. This is more about communications, media, strategy, and PR. Okay.
Yeah.
Rather than opinions. So while we have opinions, we will refrain from giving you our opinion. We'll let you come up with your own conclusion. So the reason that the writer was making that claim was the haul in just 24 hours was over 100 million. Okay. So there's an excitement about the campaign now with Vice President Harris in the mix that is being likened to Obama. So the excitement that once permeated the Obama campaign. So what's your take, Jose?
Well, we had a series of events that basically set the tone of what this campaign was going to be about. We had the verdict in May 31st. We had the debate on June 27th, and we had the assassination attempt on June 13th. And then just this past weekend, basically Joe Biden stepping down and letting Kamala Harris become the next nominee for the Democratic Party. But the way that I see it is that we were seeing a Republican Party, a Donald Trump, that was very much on the offensive, right? If we look at the Google Trends, which is something that I did just a few hours ago, I can see those peaks in people's searches on Google. And they were not necessarily, in the case of Donald Trump, I guess a good reason to be searching his name on Google, because the peaks for in the case of Donald Trump where it happened when the verdict, which happened in May 31st, May 30th.
Yes.
The debate, some peak, but didn't really do that much.
He didn't get much of a spike after the debate.
Not really. Yeah, I wish I could show these numbers to you right now, but
how about the convention? What were the numbers looking like after the convention? Flat?
I mean, a little bit better than the debate, but it didn't really do that much. I mean, the assassination attempt really spiked people to search the name Donald Trump. By far. And then,
interesting.
But you know what? Yeah, very interesting, because if you look at the 90 days, you see a Donald Trump dominating across, right?
Yes.
But then beginning this past weekend, he's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Kamala is leading significantly. I mean, both are trending down in regards to searches, but still Kamala is, way above Donald Trump right now. So I think it will be key for her to keep that momentum. And, we have, first, she hasn't decided who the vice president is going to be. We haven't had the Democratic convention. So she has two mayor announcements coming up. So that may allow her, and this is just my perception again, that may allow her to keep that momentum. So
I think
if
so
she does,
because you keep them on the edge. Because if you announce it right out of the gate,
right,
then you've lost your spark. You've lost your bang, and so if you drag it out, then you can get another spike out of announcing
exactly,
the vice president that she's going to select, and then
exactly,
everybody will be googling who the vice president is select is,
yeah.
and then comes the Apple research from all of the different political operatives. What do you think about waiting to announce uh, the presidential candidate and basically Joe stepping down after the convention? What do you think about that?
Uh, well,
Do you
it
think that was
definitely
by
threw a
design?
punch.
What's your take as a PR speaking as a PR strategist?
I don't know, Victor.
Okay,
I don't know
there's
if
a
that
lot of
was
things
by
we don't
design.
know. We can only
There's a lot of
speculate.
things that we don't know. Yeah,
We can only
what
speculate. But my
what we
money
know
is
for sure.
that
Yeah,
they were waiting on all that money to be spent on messaging, right? On
yes, absolutely. But what we know is that it threw a really, really hard punch
yeah,
on the Republicans to the
yeah.
point that my perception is that they, up to now, they don't really know how to respond to this.
They don't. I was reading this morning as far as how to attack Kamala because they haven't been able to find anything that sticks. Dumb as a rock is not going to stick because she's very intelligent as a prosecutor and as a former AG. As a coconut, that has no traction. And here again, we get into very, very tricky strategy and messaging because if you attack her as a woman of color, you are alienating the suburban women who already are not very pro-Trump because of the choices related to the Supreme Court and abortion. And I found something very interesting, Jose, that I hadn't really thought about. But if you attack Kamala Harris, you are forcing black men, you're peeling away black men that were drawn to Trump because black men will not support attacking a woman of color because their spouses are their women in their circle are not going to allow that. What do you think about that?
I think this goes across any female. I mean, the fact that here's two things that we need to consider. Attacking a female, right? Just like you presented it. That is a dangerous territory that you want to be in, right?
Yes.
Especially when you're running as a candidate. But I think that the other thing is the fact that you are this all white man, and I'm sorry if I'm putting it in those words, and then all of a sudden, you're running against a younger female, and guess what? That female was an attorney general in California, and then she has experience prosecuting individuals that have violated the law. I mean, this looks like the perfect storm.
Notice how she positioned herself in her first campaign speech to say, I know men of the likes of Donald Trump because I'm a prosecutor, again, implying he's a felon, I'm not. And I know how to deal with people of his like.
Exactly.
Again, that was by design. That was very, very much
you feel so
a scripted message by her operatives, which again, they did a good job.
Yeah, and the other thing that the comment that I made to you before, I follow a lot Andres Oppenheimer, who is in Miami and is a very well-established, I guess, opinion guy when it comes to politics in Latin America. And he was saying about the attack of Donald Trump to Joe Biden was more related to his age
Yes.
and his cognitive capacity, right?
Yes.
And then what happens? But where are we now,
That
right?
gets
Now
turned
you
upside
are the
down.
old guy.
Yeah.
Yes. And so if you see the social media reaction to this, you're going to start to see a lot of videos of Kamala just dancing with music in the background,
Yes.
moving around, a lot of movement, a lot of energy. Uh, that is where this narrative is going, and that
That's
may
the
not.
sizzle of the campaign. Okay. You know,
Yeah,
in advertising, sell the sizzle, not the steak. That's the
exactly.
sizzle. That's the sizzle in the campaign. In that Kamala is funny. She dances. She's very deliberate in her
Mhm.
comments, and so it's a totally different brand compared to to Donald Trump.
Very much, and but here's the challenge for her and for Donald Trump. I think that influencers across the social media are going to start constructing their own narrative of what
Yes.
they think Kamala
Yes.
is.
Yes.
And the
It-
same thing applies to Donald
yeah.
Trump.
Look at the
And
new normal, Jose, in that brands are no longer what they say they are, brands on
Mhm.
what the consumer says they are.
Yes, yes. So if you have a guy, you know, someone that is a very that's a strong follower of Kamala and Joe Biden, and then he's a very strong influencer, and then he starts generating content on
Yes,
social media, that
yes.
almost becomes like the campaign, right?
It's
Which
happening.
is
It's happening
yeah.
already. This is put forth as
Hmm.
the first campaign of of sorts in different areas. One, I read that they're predicting that this will be the first campaign that TikTok is going to have such a strong influence, and that is true because the
Right.
TikTok is saturated right now with videos. Another
Yes.
one is that this will be a presidential year where memes play a significant role because if you remember between Hillary and Donald, let's face it, the Russians played a big part in
Right.
creating fake news sites and all kinds of crazy memes. I looked at many of them, and I mean you couldn't avoid them because Facebook was pushing them on you. If you
Yeah.
do any kind of research or click on any kind of political stuff, again, the algorithm is going to feed you whatever it is that they think that you want to read and see. And so if you remember, Hillary didn't want to run that kind of campaign, and there wasn't that many surrogate posters with negative campaigning. But this one, it's full on. It's a full on war. All the
Full on.
surrogates are out in full force. And here's an interesting fact, Jose. When you add the millennials and the Gen Zs, the number is greater than baby boomers, which again have decided most elections in past decades. So
Uh-huh.
now imagine an army of Gen Zs and millennials that are now influencers with the tools to create their own content to attack, excuse me, the GOP.
So the challenge that I see with that is how do you control that? You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
because
because
they can go off the rails. They can go off the
yeah,
rails,
it can go easily,
and it
easily.
can have a negative connotation to the campaign if you don't have some kind of safety guards.
Exactly.
And again, how are you going to do that? Are you going to
And
have thousands of people monitoring influencers and suggesting what to do and what not to do? That's not feasible.
you know, I don't. It's very complicated. I mean, the technology allows you to
Yeah,
monitor, but to control it, it's
yeah.
I
Let's go there.
I just don't see how,
Let's
right?
go there.
And this, well,
2020,
and this.
20. Go ahead.
No, I
Finish your
was going to
thought.
say that this applies to both candidates because
Yes.
you know I have seen some content being shared on social media, but
Mhm.
I'm not really sure if, like for example, Donald Trump is aligned with something like that. But it almost becomes like the official
Yes.
message from Donald Trump, if this guy's generating this content,
Yeah.
and then another guy picks up, and then another guy picks up, and then all suddenly that becomes the narrative, right?
It becomes an echo chamber, yeah. And
Yeah.
and think about it like this, Jose, is like we already know the brand of Donald Trump. Okay. We don't
Yeah.
know the brand of Kamala because her campaign for president was very short-lived. She didn't even make it to the Iowa caucus. Okay. She dropped out
Okay.
before Iowa. And so we don't know the brand of that particular campaign. And even if we did, it wouldn't be the same for 2024.
Yes. I did a
2020,
set.
2020 and 2016, Jose, we didn't have AI that was being used as a weapon.
Absolutely not. Yeah. but here's what I did. I did like a brief, very shallow sentiment analysis of both
Okay.
Donald Trump and Kamala. And I'm just going to read some sections of
Go
this
for it.
because it's a long one. The general sentiment towards Donald Trump across the United States is mixed, reflecting deep polarization. We know that, right?